Welcome to Mid-Level Media, everybody, and there's no crying in baseball or in my review of the 4K edition of A League of Their Own. Stay tuned. Welcome everybody to the unboxing portion of this video, and today I am unboxing A League of Their Own, the 4K edition from that Columbia Classics set Volume 1. So yeah, guys, so this is a part, like I said, of the Columbia Classics Edition collection that came out a couple of weeks ago. This is one of 6 films, but since all of these came out individually, their own individual slipcovers, I decided to kind of give you a more in-depth look at them all individually. So let's look at this cover right here. So you have A League of Their Own right there, and these are very different 4K covers than usual. You know, it's not traditional. You don't see the 4K Ultra HD. I kind of wish you did. I would have preferred that, but I still like the fact that they all had their own individual slipcovers as well. So you have the cast list at tops. You have Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Madonna, A League of Their Own. You have this kind of background black and white image of the fans and the crowds of the games, and then you have Gina Davis holding the baseball bat in the front. So that's a great image that they used for the cover of this for sure. Right here, let's go ahead and look at the spine, and this is a more traditional 4K spine. You have A League of Their Own, the title of the film right there. You have the Ultra HD Blu-ray. You have the Columbia Pictures right there at the back. So this is a Columbia Pictures collection, but it is released by Sony, so just keep that in mind. You have a quote right here on the back, a home run. John Siegel, ABC TV. You see Kit and Dottie right there with Tom Hanks, Jim Duggan right there. Right there at the bottom, you got some stuff. You got the other spine. So let's go ahead and take this out of the slipcover. Now, this I love, and this is actually the same cover that they used for the 25th anniversary Blu-ray edition that came out, I think, in 2017. So yeah, this is a very nice cover. I do love this cover a lot. It's really awesome. You know, you have Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, you got Madonna right there, and of course, Madonna in it at that time was like one of the biggest pop stars ever. So of course, even though she's not the biggest character in the film, of course you would put Madonna on your cover for sure. Right down here you have the team celebrating, and you have a little bit of a tagline: an all-American comedy for every generation. I wouldn't describe this as a complete comedy, but yeah, there are definitely comedic elements here. Right there, the same as the spine, you have A League of Their Own. The only difference being that you actually have some color, the red color right there in A League, where you didn't on the slipcover. All right, so let's look at this back, and you got this image right there of Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell. And let's go ahead and zoom into, you got the synopsis right there of the film, where it talks about the film, says director Penny Marshall, and special features right here, 3 episodes of the 1993 TV series A League of Their Own, which we'll get into later. Feature commentary with Penny Marshall, Laura Petty, Tracy Reiner, 9 memorable endings, documentary, deleted scenes, the enduring legacy of A League of Their Own featurette. This used to be in my playground music video about Madonna, so some good special features in this one. You have the cast list down below. You have the specs of the film. You have the 4K Ultra HD, and all that good stuff. Dolby Atmos by Sony. The film's rated PG, so let's go ahead and open up this case, guys. Take a look at some disc art. So yeah, definitely some awesome disc art here. You have this image right there, the same one that's on the back of the slipcover with Dottie and Tom Hanks and Kit, played by Gina Davis. So great image right there for the 4K. And you also have the Blu-ray disc right here of A League of Their Own, which has the movie and the special features for the film on it. The only special features that are on the 4K disc are that of the trailers that they added to this one. So those are the new special features for this. Everything else was released with the 25th anniversary Blu-ray a couple of years ago. So we'll go ahead and close this back up, guys, and get into the review portion of this video. Stand by. Alright guys, so thank you for sticking around for the review portion of this video. And before I go any further, I'm going to ask that you guys please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, Mid-Level Media, for more great content like this. I do Blu-ray and 4K reviews like this all the time. I do unboxings, I do giveaways at times. I do my Monday physical media report where I run down all the latest and greatest in Blu-ray and 4K releases. So all kinds of great stuff on this channel. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And go ahead and drop me a like, just a really quick like down below. I would greatly appreciate it. And go ahead and comment down below just your thoughts on this release, the Columbia Classics Edition, or A League of Their Own as a movie in general. But yeah, just leave me a comment down below, guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this movie is from Columbia Pictures, but this release is released by Sony. The movie is directed by Penny Marshall and stars Gina Davis and Tom Hanks, and tells the story of the All-American Girls Baseball League during World War II And, this is a classic movie, guys. This is a movie from my childhood that I absolutely love. I watch this movie all the time. I remember this very vividly. I saw this movie for the first time at a drive-in as part of a double feature actually a part of a triple feature with this. I think Aladdin was the first movie that they showed. Then they showed A League of Their Own, and then the last movie was Army of Darkness. So that was a very interesting triple feature that just always sticks out in my mind for some reason. But yeah, I've always loved this movie. I watched it all the time at home, just on TV, on VHS. It's just one of those classic movies just from my childhood that I absolutely adore. And it's, to be honest, like, this is a classic story. It's an underdog story, but not in the way that other sports movies are. It doesn't focus on a particular underdog character or underdog sports team. It's more the girls' league as a whole are the underdogs in this film, because they're basically, during this time, they were just placeholders. And they mentioned this in the film. They were just placeholders until the war ended and the guys came back home to take their spots. So, and there's all kinds of debates within the movie how they want to keep the girls' league going, but the owner's like, we're gonna shut it down next year because the guys are coming home. So what do we need the girls for? So it is an underdog story. It is very much the women and the girls in this movie having to try and fight and prove themselves as far as their abilities in the sport of baseball to the guys who's in the audience, and they end up doing it throughout the film, and they end up winning the audience over. And yeah, it's just a really good story, and it's just a very important film and story for women that, to be honest, hasn't really been expanded on. People are crying for great female stories and great female casts and all that, and this movie has that, and it was made in 1992. So the fact that we don't have more movies like this to kind of look back on throughout the 90s and hold up is like, this was a great time for female characters and females in film. Like, it's very sad, to be honest, and very disheartening, because there's just some great performances, some great characters in this movie, and it proves that you can absolutely tell a female story and make it great and make it classic. And it appeals to men, it appeals to women. Like, there's tons of guys who hold this movie up as one of their favorite sports movies. Like, I am one of them. This is definitely probably in my top 3 favorite sports films of all time. Like, I absolutely adore this film. And yeah, let's talk about the cast, guys, because you got Gina Davis, you got Tom Hanks. They're freaking amazing together in this movie. Tom Hanks, very early part of his career, but it was after Big and all that, and he had worked with Penny Marshall before, who directed Big as well. And it's really cool to see Hanks in this movie because he's playing a character that he doesn't a lot. He always plays a sort of good guy, and he is a good guy in this movie. But he starts off very rough, very gruff, very grumpy. He's a drunk. He's kind of down on his luck. He's this old baseball player from like 10 years previous that had a lot of success, and he's kind of fallen on harder times. They recruit him to coach this girls' baseball league because that's what they believe that's the only thing he's good for now. And he's really great in this movie, and kind of seeing his character arc and see him develop and see him kind of grow to love and coaching these girls. It's a very sweet story, and it's a very sweet character arc from Tom Hanks, and he plays it absolutely beautifully, as one would expect. It's Tom Hanks. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. And Gina Davis, during this time, she was on a hot streak. She had done Beetlejuice. She did Thelma and Louise. She's a terrific actress, and it makes me sad to look back on Gina Davis's career because I don't feel like she does anything anymore, and she hasn't for a really long time. We'll get into like what she does now in the special features because there's some stuff in there that I wasn't even aware of. But yeah, she's a terrific actress. She's fantastic in this movie. The whole cast is really great, except for maybe one performance, which I'll talk about in a minute. But you have Madonna in this film, and she's not really known for being an actress, but she's phenomenal in this movie. And it was so smart of them to get a pop star icon, because nobody was bigger, at least female-wise, in the pop world at that time than Madonna. So the fact that they got her for this movie, that was a huge win and get for this film. And, Rosie O'Donnell, she was a huge star back in the early 90s. She's fantastic in this film. Just a great cast all around, guys. And the only issue that I have, and I'll get into it, is Laura Petty's performance as the sister Kit. There's parts of it I like and parts of it I don't. But to be honest, overall, it's a very weak performance, in my opinion. She plays it way over the top. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more nuance She's basically playing the jealous sister. She's jealous of Gina Davis because Gina Davis has always been better than her at everything. Gina Davis is the older sister, so just growing up, she's kind of developed that younger sibling complex, and that just plays throughout the entire movie. And she's very one note, and there's just no nuance there at all. It's just, I don't like my sister. My sister's always out to get me. There's all this crap, and to be honest, Gina Davis's character doesn't really help the situation because she's always ragging on her too and always criticizing her. So I get that she would have to play it so over the top, but it's not a performance that I enjoy. But to be honest, the character is very unlikable, but when you get to the end of the movie, it still pays off. It still pays off in that great moment, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody because there's something that happens in the middle of the film between Dottie and Kit, just some kind of transfers within the baseball league and moves and stuff like that, and one of them ends up on the other team, so you have this, two sisters going head to head, and you have the team that that you're rooting for, but then something that happens at the end that kind of flips the script and changes everything, and it ends up being just a great ending. I think it was the right ending for this movie, even though at the time I could see it kind of makes you feel a little bit conflicted the way they end it. To be honest, because you're rooting for this team the whole time, but you also really like that this moment happened at the end, and it's a really sweet moment. And to be honest, there's a lot of scenes in this movie, and it is a 90s movie. Some of the acting is kind of cheesy, some of the moments are kind of cheesy, but there's still moments that get me in this movie. The girl receiving the letter from Tom Hanks about her husband, when Bill Pullman comes back, which is Gina Davis's husband, the moment between Gina Davis and Kit at the end of the film, it's moments that kind of made me well up a little bit with tears, even though I'm realizing it's not like the greatest acting of all time or anything, and it is kind of cheesy. I guess it's just nostalgia, and the moments get me, and they still get me. So in that respect, the movie still works for me on mostly all fronts, except for that one performance. And as a movie, guys, I got to give this a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed my rewatch of it, and this is one of the main reasons I got this Columbia Classics edition. This is the only movie I had seen before in that collection, and I knew I loved it, and I knew it would hold up for me. So let's get into the visuals and just how it looks in 4K. So I was a little worried starting off. It didn't look the best, and you have Gina Davis playing herself as an old woman, which is already kind of weird. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say, when they're showing the modern times look, it didn't look as good. But as soon as they flash back into the 40s, it looks phenomenal. The visuals actually look a whole lot better when they get on that ball field. The grass is so lush and green, and you really notice a difference in that contrast. And I haven't seen this movie in Blu-ray. I don't even know if I've seen it on DVD. I know I've watched it on TV. I watched it on VHS a lot when I was a kid, so I can't really have any points of comparison there. But it does look phenomenal in 4K, I have to say, once they get from flashing back. So as far as the visuals, they mostly stand up, and they're pretty damn great. So the sound is also really good. But let's get into the special features, because there are a couple of new things that are exclusive to this 4K release. One of those is they have a collection of 6 new trailers. So they actually have some character trailers. They have a character trailer for Madonna and Gina Davis, individual trailers. I don't know if these were shown on TV back in 1992 before the film came out or not. I didn't really do that much digging, but they're interesting trailers to kind of watch and get into. And the other thing, guys, is the failed sitcom of A League of Their Own that they tried to do in 1993, so a year after this movie came out, and that was really interesting. I didn't watch all 3 episodes. I watched one though, and it does play like a sitcom. Like an old school 90s sitcom, and it's very cheesy, and it's not good at all, to be honest. But one thing I noticed is that the sister, the girl that's playing Kit in this one, is actually, I just remember because I love Child's Play too, but she's the actress. She's the foster care sister in Child's Play 2. She's Kyle in Child's Play 2, so I did notice that, and yeah, she's horrible in this. And so the interesting thing about it is they're using all the same characters, but they've got different actresses for all of them, except for the tomboy girl and Penny Marshall's daughter. who was in the movie, and she was the woman that got the letter that her husband had died. And it's weird because they actually make a joke about her husband dying. They use it as a joke within the sitcom. And it's real weird. The guy that plays Tom Hanks's character, he's just bad. He was in a lot of sitcoms in the 90s. I remember him. But he's not good. And he's imitating Tom Hanks's character, and he's doing a very poor job of it. So yeah, I can see why that show failed, but it's interesting to watch it just to see how they take these characters and translate them to the small screen. And they even within the first 5 minutes of the show, they recite the line, or the guy that's playing Tom Hanks's character, he's like, "You know what I always say?" And they're like, "What?" "There's no crying in baseball." He tries to relive that scene again. It's just kind of sad, but it's also kind of fantastic at the same time. So definitely interesting to watch. And the other two like big special features with this is the 9 memorable innings, and that was actually on the 2004 DVD version, but that's about a 50-minute documentary, and that was pretty interesting. It had Penny Marshall. It has more of the cast and crew in that one. That I guess were more willing to do a documentary featurette back in 2004 than they were in 2017. So the other one is The Enduring Legacy of A League of Their Own, and that's the one that came out with the 2017 Blu-ray release, and that one's very Gina Davis heavy, and it's funny because that one goes in from like a documentary on the film and just talking about the making of it and a retrospective of the 25th anniversary. It goes from that to kind of like a commercial for Gina Davis's Women in Film company and diversity company, which I didn't know she was a part of, so apparently she started her own film festival where, you have to have a diverse cast, you have to be a female director to get into, which is kind of interesting and fascinating, and definitely great work on her part for doing that. But yeah, it kind of turns into a commercial for that and kind of shifts away from talking about A League of Their Own into her film festival. So it's a little weird to watch, and then you got about 30 minutes of deleted scenes, which I didn't watch all of those, but some of those are really good. Some really good moments that were taken out of the film there. But overall, guys, yeah, as far as special features, this is loaded with them. And the fact that they got like the trailers and 3 episodes of a sitcom, like if you're interested in that and in A League of Their Own, like definitely a lot to dig into and some extra stuff for this 4K release. So overall, as far as the actual release and presentation and special features, I would give that a 9 out of 10. So a 9 out of 10 for the movie, a 9 out of 10 for the actual presentation. So this is an overall 9 out of 10, guys. I absolutely recommend this, but the thing is, you cannot pick this up by itself. You have to have it as a part of the Columbia Classics collection. And I'm going to try to be getting into every single one of those and review each one of those individually. That's just the way I want to do it. Just kind of break them down individually. And I'm starting with A League of Their Own because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's the only one that I've seen before. So that does it for my review, guys. I appreciate you guys watching today. Go ahead and if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and like this video and comment down below just your thoughts on A League of Their Own. I would love to hear it. Love to talk with you guys about this, your memories of it and from your childhood and all that. Or if you haven't seen it, just comment that down below as well. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.